My name is Emily Johnson. I've been married for 5 years and have a 3-year-old child. My husband claims to be a highly educated doctor. Whether he's really highly educated or not, I don't know. But he does run a small clinic, so I'm sure he is a doctor. His specialty is dermatology. It's a small clinic, but I think it's thriving. Thanks to my husband, I was able to live comfortably, but it seems such happiness is quite fragile. Suddenly, my husband brought home his mistress. I'm going to marry my mistress. I mean, I never officially married you. A sudden declaration of infidelity and marriage? I was completely stunned and couldn't comprehend what he was saying. So, it's over with us. Over? We have a child together. Marriage isn't that simple. It's not something that can easily start and end. That's what I'm saying. We were never really married in the first place since we never officially registered. We were just in a common law marriage. That's ridiculous. Unfortunately, it's true. What about our child? The child? Oh, right. Kids are just a nuisance in a new marriage. I'll leave him with you. Excuse me? Our child is a nuisance? Yes, I'm going to marry Katie and have children with her. It's better for you too, right? I would much rather keep my child than lose him. I can't even imagine giving him to my husband. So, that's settled. No, it's not. Who is this woman, anyway? She's my mistress. I know that. I'm asking who she is. A nurse at my clinic. No way. There wasn't anyone like that. I hired her recently. And, well, I've also gotten her pregnant. I didn't know about this. That's because, you see, getting a nurse pregnant means we're practically married already. There's no choice but to marry her. We've come this far, and that's enough. That's not the point. It is the point. To me, she's more important than you. How dare you? I'd rather be with quiet Katie than a nagging woman like you. Don't you get it? How could I understand that? After everything we've been through. I had no idea you were cheating. Well, I hid it well. It's easier to hide these things when it's with a nurse from the clinic. You wouldn't suspect anything if I said I had work left, right? You wouldn't know if there's a nurse there or not. So, you're saying you used the clinic's bed for this? Yeah, it's convenient. The nerve of you, using it like a hotel. Men and women can fall in love anywhere, right? Yes. But I won't leave you. Why's that? We never officially registered our marriage, so it should be easy to split up. I never intended to register our marriage in the first place. I thought this through before staying with you. Marriage isn't something to jump into without considering the future. But you're gonna marry her? Yeah, I'm 35 now. It's high time I got serious. So everything up till now wasn't serious? That's right. You made a child with me without being serious? Yeah, that's what happened. How could you do that? I guess it's just a man's instinct. You're okay with this guy, Katie? You might end up in my shoes next. That won't happen. For him, Emily was just a woman he didn't need to officially marry. But for me, I'm someone he wants to officially marry right from the start. Sure, you say that. But it's true. I love him and want to have his children as soon as possible. That's why I don't need a stepchild. See? She doesn't want the child either. We're planning to have our own kids. Lucky for you, you care more about the child than me. I knew that. Is it because I focused on the child? That's why you cheated? Don't make it complicated. I don't like that about you. I prefer intellectual women. But you're all about being a mom. You've given up on being a woman. How can I see you as a woman forever? Just because you had a child, you think that's enough? Men can father children, so the idea that having a child secures the relationship is just an urban legend. What's that? So the idea that a child strengthens a marriage is just going to crumble? I don't believe a child is the glue in a marriage. A wife remaining a woman forever, that's what's necessary for a happy marriage. Let's end this. Hearing this, I couldn't just say, let's get divorced. You don't know anything, do you? What don't I know? You're just trying to confuse me. Poor thing. Confused? Think what you will, but let me tell you something. You thought we weren't married, but we actually are. What? That's impossible. So we can't get married unless we divorce. Sorry, but I have no intention of divorcing you. That's ridiculous. How can that be? What's going on, doctor? No, that can't be. We can check the marriage certificate to see if you're lying. There's no way we're married. He said that and left with his mistress. I was so exhausted, I just sat down. The next day, he came back home, ranting like a madman. And what he slammed down in front of me was the marriage certificate. What's going on? I don't remember getting married. But you did, right? Why? Why are we registered? You don't remember? When I told you I was pregnant, you were so happy, you opened 2 bottles of wine. Then, when I said we should officially register our marriage now that we're having a baby, you agreed. You eagerly signed the marriage certificate I had prepared. That's a lie. It's the truth. That's fraud. What? That's right. I was drunk. A signature while intoxicated doesn't count. That's invalid. Invalid? We've lived as a married couple until now. This is a trap. It's not a trap. You signed it willingly. I didn't force you. But I never intended to get married. But we are legally married, it's in the marriage certificate. That's absurd. So, I can't get married without divorcing first? Exactly. Fine, let's get a divorce. That's a joke. I have no intention of divorcing you. Why? You should hate a husband who cheats. Yes, it's infuriating. But we have a child. It's not easy to just divorce. Damn, this is why I didn't want to get married. Blame your drunk self from the past. I'm definitely not divorcing you. My husband, tearing at his hair and writhing in frustration, eventually left the house. I thought that if we didn't divorce, his mistress Katie would eventually get fed up and leave him. But Katie was persistent. From the next day, my husband and his mistress Katie started contacting me, trying to break my spirit. Hey! Why won't you divorce him? Excuse me? Who is this? I'm Katie, the future wife of the doctor. Oh, the current mistress. I'm the one he loves. You're not loved at all, so you should just leave. I can't do that. We have a child. That doesn't matter. He wants to marry me. Well, that's his saying. Or, can't you let go of being a doctor's wife? But you know, I'm going to be the doctor's wife, not you. You can't be his wife. Even if you say it's impossible, I have been his wife until now. Until now, he didn't know he was married. Now that he knows, he regrets marrying you. Still not divorcing, aren't you strange? Is that so? Don't you have any pride? Sitting firmly in the position of a wife. Don't you find it embarrassing? I don't. I am, in fact, his wife. Divorce him. Divorce him right now. I'm supposed to be the doctor's wife. It seemed like Katie just wanted to be a doctor's wife. She kept saying she was going to be the doctor's wife, convinced that it meant a life of luxury. But reality isn't always like a dream. You know, being a doctor's wife isn't as great as you think. I don't need to hear that from you. Just divorce him. I'm the one he loves. After her tirade, the call ended, and then my husband called. Hey, you heard from her, right? We're in love. Just sign the divorce papers. I won't. Why are you so stubborn? Divorce isn't something that can be done so easily. It's easy. Just sign the papers. There's more to it than that. It's a matter of the heart. I love Katie, not you. Staying together will only hurt you more. I don't love you anymore. What about our child? I told you, the child is yours. That's not what I mean. What about our child's feelings? Won't they be hurt by a sudden divorce? That can't be helped. A child growing up with parents who don't love each other is worse. I'll pay alimony and child support. Living with you will be better for the child. I'm a doctor, I can pay as much as you want. I have money. I'm willing to pay whatever it takes right now. I don't think we've ever lived that lavishly. You just don't understand. A doctor can make a lot of money when serious. I wish you'd been serious sooner then. So, you don't want a divorce because you'll struggle without me, right? What? That's it, isn't it? How manipulative. I'm not thinking that. So you're just tying me down for the money. Can't you think of any other reason? No, I can't. There's no other reason for your refusal to divorce. My husband kept belittling me. This was every day. It was getting harder even to hear the phone ring. And he completely ignored my and our child's feelings. I started to resent my husband more and find his weaknesses. Then a question occurred to me. A few days later, I learned from the police that my husband had been arrested. When I went to see him, he looked desperate. I requested a visit and we were taken to a private room. Get me a lawyer! A good one! I'll pay whatever it takes! He must have been desperate to say that to me. Haven't you decided yet? Don't you do that right after you're caught? Or did you think you could defend yourself since you're so smart? The police just came and arrested me. I had no time to think. I thought you, being a highly educated doctor, would defend yourself. If I could, I would. Oh, so demanding when asking for a favor. Sorry. Please, I'm begging you. He is desperate. But this wasn't the sight I wanted to see. Nor could I forgive him for such a meek display. Why not ask Katie, your future wife? I tried, but after the first visit, I was banned from seeing her. Why? We spoke in a way only we understood, and they suspected we might be hiding evidence. What were you talking about? Bedroom stuff. Idiot. You can't just talk about that openly with the police. I thought you wouldn't care about that. Why do you think they found out I don't have a medical license? You don't have one? No. You were practicing without a license. And here I thought it was for adultery. Like I'd be arrested for that these days. Too bad. Adultery would have been interesting. Imagine being paraded through the streets naked on a horse. We can talk about that some other time. How do you think they found out about the lack of a license? I don't know. Right. It's strange. I never told you I didn't have a medical license, and of course, I didn't tell Katie either. So, who could have reported me? Hey! What's that about? Is it really that surprising? Yes. It's incredibly strange. Want me to tell you? You know? Of course. It was me. What, really? Truly. Why? You weren't supposed to know. I didn't know. Then how did you find out? With all the nagging about divorce, and the daily calls from both of you, I was fed up. I started wondering what your weakness could be. That's when it hit me. What did? Whether you really had a medical license. What? I mean, I've never seen your medical license. I just assumed you had one because you worked as a doctor, but there were so many things I didn't know. To become a doctor, you have to study a lot at first, right? About internal medicine, surgery, all sorts of diseases? Some people know that stuff, some don't. Well, I thought about it and checked the medical license verification database. Your name didn't come up at all. So, I asked a doctor friend to check, and they said you were a fake. I was shocked. Why did you report me? If you had kept quiet, this wouldn't have happened. Now I can't pay you alimony or child support. Don't worry. That's a separate issue. Plus, if I'd stayed silent after finding out, I could have been punished too. So, you did it to protect yourself? Of course. If I got arrested, our child would be the one to suffer. But if you're arrested, the only one troubled is Katie. Though, if you get a real sentence, you won't be able to marry Katie or cuddle in bed. Sad, isn't it? Especially since you love each other. Did you talk to Katie? Yes. She seemed quite calm when I told her you couldn't cuddle on the examination table anymore. She's quick to switch gears. I was surprised. What do you mean? Maybe because as a fake doctor, you're not financially promising? But she really didn't know, it seems. How do you know that? She contacted me. The police went to the clinic about the fake doctor accusation. She was asked if she knew you didn't have a medical license. I told her Katie would know more about that. I never told her, she couldn't have known. Seems that way. So, how do you feel now? What? Being outsmarted by the wife you belittled. How does it feel? Terrible. Right? That's what you get for underestimating women. And now, without your fake doctor allure, she said she's leaving you. Even though you said you were in love, money's the end of the line. So that's why she hasn't visited since then. She's banned from visiting, remember? Oh, right. Idiot. So, why claim to be highly educated and then become a fake doctor? My family are all doctors. I know. I was the only one who couldn't get into med school. I was mocked by my parents and siblings. After 3 years, I finally got in, but my grades were bad, and I couldn't become a doctor. My family ridiculed me even more, and no hospital would hire me. Well, they wouldn't hire someone who's not a doctor. I'd be more surprised if they did. So, I thought I'd do it myself and opened my own clinic. I figured dermatology would be easy, just applying creams. You're the worst, mocking your patients like that. Well, maybe. But some people did get better. That's just a stroke of luck. Even if they didn't get better, they just think this doctor isn't right for them and go elsewhere. So, I never thought I'd get caught. I see. But to think that someone like you was a doctor. So, what do you think will happen to me? Well, from what I checked, pretending to be a doctor when you're not could be a violation of the Medical Practice Act. That could mean up to 3 years in prison or a fine of up to $10,000. If it's just a fine, that's okay then. And you wrote medical certificates too, right? That might fall under the crime of creating false medical documents. What's that? It's a crime for making fake medical certificates. That could be up to 3 years in prison or a fine of up to $3,000. The latter is cheaper, so let's go with that. If you're convicted of both, you won't be getting out of prison for 6 years. Both at the same time? Is that even possible? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Please, hire a good lawyer for me. Why do I have to do that? What? We're still married, aren't we? You wanted a divorce so badly. But we're not divorced yet. True, we're not divorced yet. That's why I brought this today. Look, be happy. It's what you've been wanting. With that, I spread the divorce papers in front of my husband, with my name already written on them. Why divorce now? What a strange question. Isn't this what you wanted? But you said you wouldn't divorce me. That was then. There's no need to bring out something like this when I'm in trouble. Hee hee. What's more valuable than a divorce paper handed over when you've hit rock bottom? That's cruel. What are you saying? You've been terrible to me all this time. It's a bit late for that, don't you think? Besides, I'm just fulfilling your wish. You should be happy. It doesn't have to be now. Your mistress Katie said she's leaving you, and if you get a real sentence, you'll be in prison. This is the perfect timing. Maybe I've been waiting for this moment. That's ridiculous. Oh, and since we're divorcing, you'll have to deal with the clinic once you're out. I'll get out and start over. I doubt that. Why not? You wouldn't know being detained, but your clinic has become famous, in a bad way. Even if you don't get a real sentence, it's impossible to start over there. No one will come. Look. I showed him my phone. With the hashtag fake doctor trending. His clinic's news was all over it. It's like a festival. Everyone's buzzing about it. Your clinic is on fire on social media. I check it 3 times a day for fun. It's impossible for you to make a comeback now. It's been on the news every day. That can't be. So, just leave the clinic as it is. But the rent will keep piling up. Yes, it will. But I don't care. After I file these divorce papers, you and I are strangers. I'll run out of money. You're a doctor, you should have plenty of money, right? Not anymore. Yeah. Oh, and one more thing. There's more? Since we're getting divorced, I'll be taking the house and savings. Let's call that alimony and child support. Lucky you, I'm not asking for cash. Prison work doesn't pay much, I hear. Please, help me. Hire a lawyer for me. Do you realize your situation? How can you hire a lawyer with no money? Even if you're let off with a fine, you can't even afford that, right? But maybe you could go with a public defender? That's it. A public defender. Just remember, it's hit or miss with them. Public defenders are cheaper, so sometimes they're not very motivated. If you get a bad one, it's the worst. But well, you'll just have to leave it to fate. Contact Katie for me. She'll definitely hire a lawyer for me. I'm not so sure about that. Come on, Katie would help me. Just contacting her is enough, please. Listen. Yes? I have no obligation to do that. No way. After leaving the police station, I immediately filed the divorce papers. I was finally free from my husband and became a stranger to him. So, I could easily ignore his requests and never visit him again. A few times, his public defender told me he wanted me to visit, but I refused, saying we were strangers now. The lawyer seemed quite annoyed, so I figured a real sentence or fine was likely. Turns out, my ex-husband chose the fine, but he didn't have the money to pay it. He asked me for a loan, but of course, I refused. Next, he apparently asked his parents and siblings, but they disowned him, saying, "We're cutting ties with you for doing such a shameful thing. Don't ever think of us as a family again." What a wonderful family. Eventually, he was sentenced to prison and had to eat prison food. After serving his time, he was released, but he couldn't get in touch with Katie. That's to be expected. She had declared their breakup, so she wouldn't wait forever. Without a mistress or family to rely on, my shameless ex-husband came to my house. Please! I have nowhere to go. Let me stay here, he begged, knocking on the door. Of course, I wouldn't let him in. He was a stranger now. No matter what he said, I refused everything and he finally gave up and left. Later, I wondered what had become of him. I heard through the grapevine that, penniless, he was working as an underground doctor. I couldn't help but think he was up to his old tricks again and wondered when he would be arrested next. Meanwhile, I sold the house we lived in as a married couple and moved into a condo with my child. Living an honest life, our peaceful and secure existence is truly happiness itself.